Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Matt DeLockery. Today, we're continuing our series, and we're nearing the end of this one. We're continuing our series on moving forward. There's problems with Christianity, and we have to figure out, okay, that's great. There's problems. We all recognize it, but we can't focus on the problems forever. We have to figure out how to move forward. What do we do about this? Because recognizing problems is fine, but we have to actually do something about them and not just complain all the time. So what do we do? Today I want to talk about apologetics. No, that does not mean apologizing for your faith. That's not what apologetics is all about. It comes from the Greek word apologia, which means defense, as in, give a reason for the answer of the hope that is in you with gentleness and respect. The idea is explaining Christianity, helping it make sense to people who aren't a part of it or need some further strengthening of their foundations, if they are Christians. It's about trying to make it understandable and rational and reasonable, and not just this thing that you have to take a blind leap of faith, diving headfirst into the chasm. That's not what it's about. It's about having reason to believe. And so apologetics has been sort of coming back in the last, 50 years or so. But it's been changing. Let me give you a brief history of what's happened. And I think it'll help you understand where we are, where we need to go forward a little bit better. Apologetics really, as you see it today, comes out of philosophy of religion. It answers questions like, is there a God? Why is there so much evil and suffering in the world? And how does that reconcile with this idea of there being a good God? And if there is a good God, which good God is it? It's those sort of really, really foundational questions, all centered around the main question: is it true? Do we have reason to believe it? I think that's a really good place to start. Most apologetics are focused on that. It used to be, about cults, how to answer cults, and now we're, how to respond to people who think crazy doctrinal things but still call themselves Christians. Then it moved into the where it is now. It's more just about is this thing rational to believe? Is it true? And I think going forward, there's another step to take, and that's where we're moving now and where it needs to move. We need to take this idea that's been used for the last 50 years or so, and it's becoming increasingly more popular. This idea of rationally thinking through your faith, looking at all the things that people tend to skip over, the difficult questions, the objections, the stuff that nobody really knows how to answer. And we assume that, somebody out there probably knows how to do it, but we don't. It's no, let's stop and actually look and see if there's a reason for that. We're taking a look at all those things and rationally, step by step, working through them to see what's worth keeping and what's worth not. And if Christianity is worth keeping, then we believe it. And if it's not, then we believe something else or nothing. So that's what apologetics does. It looks at all those difficult questions that you maybe never got a good answer to in church, or maybe nobody who's a Christian was ever able to explain to you very well. Lots of things related to science and religion, and this is where I think it needs to go. There are all sorts of questions like, how does Christianity, or how should Christianity interact with politics? Maybe it stays completely out of it. Maybe it does interact in some sort of a very light way, or maybe it's completely involved in it. What about, legal questions? What about environmental issues? What about technological questions? As technology increases more and more and more and more, how does that change what we do? Our world is increasingly different than the world of the Bible. So what do we do about that? There's more and more questions that we don't have easy answers to going forward. So what I'm suggesting is we need to take this methodology of apologetics, this rational investigation into our faith, and start expanding it into multiple areas in a variety of ways, in a variety of different subjects, everywhere where Christianity interacts with the world outside of church, which is quite a lot of places. And we need to start applying this apologetic methodology to all of that, rationally thinking through, why should I believe about any number of questions? So going forward is not simply just saying this is the way we've always done it. It's, okay, we have always done things this way. But perhaps with changing situations and new sorts of ways of being involved in the world, perhaps we need to rethink through some of the things that we've thought for a really long time. And I think that's one of the most important things that we can do going forward.